everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren, and before I get started with today's video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to give this video a thumbs up. And now welcome to this, I guess, second wedding series video, but I guess this is technically gonna be the first because we're really gonna get into it. I've been going venue shopping like no other. So my fiance and I have been going venue shopping for weeks now. I wasn't able to film every single place just because as we started getting closer and closer down to like the nitty gritty, I needed to focus, and like the videoing while you're there is great because I can look back and see everything, you know, that I visited, but it's been like a really tiring process for me. I didn't think it would be this hard, but it is. It's really hard to find something, I guess, that everybody loves and that you feel fits everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys 3 places and I'm going to walk you through it. I'm gonna explain what we liked and didn't like about it, why it worked or why it wouldn't work, but the actual venue that we chose, because by now we pretty much chose a place. I'm sure by the time this is up we will have like fully locked it in, but right now, as of now, we haven't signed anything, so nothing is fully definite yet. And I have noticed that in this process, anything can change in an instant. A few tips before I get into it. Number 1, it's really good to compare the places that you've seen to each other. One thing that we did was we put together like a spreadsheet and we rated each thing that was important to us. So we rated the food, we rated like the appeal, the curb appeal when you drive up, we rated the ballroom, we rated the ceremony space. So we did like a scale to rate all of these places, and it kind of helped. It also kind of didn't help because places that we like didn't rate that high ended up coming back higher on the list, and then places we did rate super high ended up going further down on the list in this process. So I don't know, it's been a lot. My head has been spinning, but that's one thing. It might be helpful to rate all of these places and look at what's most important to you. If the most important part to you is what the place looks like, then obviously you're gonna weigh that scale heavier than the other parts. If the most important part is what the food offers, like how much food they give you, how many stations they give you, what gives you the best bang for your buck, then you're gonna rate that higher. Now, there were certain things that obviously were more important to us than others. Overall, I mean, it was really hard for us to figure out what was more important because we really wanted something that was aesthetically pleasing, like to us. That was something that we wanted. We wanted it to look beautiful in photos. We wanted it to have a certain vibe. But we also wanted there to be a lot of food and really good food. And in New York, like, it's very important when you go to weddings that everybody has enough food. Because we always say, like, when you go to a wedding here at least and there's not enough food, like, people are always gonna say it. Or the food wasn't good or this or that. But we wanted our guests to feel like there was always something next for them, right? So that it was just, it's been really hard to find that and then along with the look of everything that we want. So there's a little bit of that. Now, another tip is before you go view anywhere, you can call up the places and have them send you a pricing sheet. If you tell them, like, I am looking to book a wedding, but before I come, I'd like to see your prices, or I'd like to get an idea of what you offer. You know, whether you live far away or you don't live far away, you don't want to waste your time going somewhere that's out of your budget or that's not offering you like half as much as what the other places are. It's good to compare before you even go there. Like I said, there was one place that we looked at where the price per person was just insane, and had we called before we went, we wouldn't have wasted our time. So don't get me wrong, it was nice to see like what they offer because then we were able to compare it to other places, but it was just not even like part of our price point. So we kind of did waste our time. Since then, we had started doing that before we would go look. We would call up and ask what the price was per person and what they offered. So that's another tip. Something else too is you need to take into account, right, like what your plan is going to be for the day of your wedding. Obviously, it's hard to think about that now because like it's like usually you're planning for in advance, right? Like my wedding is more than well, the date we're looking at least is more than a year away. So obviously like you're like, oh my god, I have to think about that, like the day of, like where I'm getting ready, how I'm doing that like right now. And it's not that you have to like plan that right now, but it's really good to have that in mind. For example, for my sister's wedding, we got ready at a hotel, and then from that hotel we went to the venue. Now there was we had a little bit of issues with that. The car service wasn't on time. Like actually the car service to bring my sister to her wedding venue was like 30 minutes late, which was a huge deal because it cut into our picture taking time and it was just really stressful. So I would say for us, taking into consideration like the morning of like where we're gonna be was pretty high on our list because we didn't want to deal with any of that type of stress. One thing was that we wanted a wedding venue that was gonna let us get ready there. Now, not every place will let you do this, and we found a few that did and a few that didn't. But it's important to look at things that, you know, are important to you and weigh it against, you know, what you're going to get versus what you're not going to get. So now there was a few other venues where I was like, oh, but I really like them, but they wouldn't let you get ready there. And so I was like, well, I'd rather give that up. Like I would give that up if I really like the venue, right? But luckily we were able to find a venue that we really liked and that would also let us get ready there. So that was just one thing that was important to me, was getting ready at the place. They would provide us with food like in the morning while we're getting ready. And it just eliminates that stressfulness of being like, I need to get to the venue on time. Like we're there, we just walked downstairs. So that I loved, especially like as like the bride, like you don't want to worry about how everyone else is getting there and like it gets really stressful. So that was something that was important to us. And you'll see as I go through the videos, you'll see what I mean. And sometimes too, you don't even know what's important until you start looking and you hear one place tell you that they offer this, and then you ask like the next place and they don't offer that. And you're like, wait a second, I really liked the idea that I could do that and this place won't let me do that. So, you know, sometimes you find things that are important as you start looking, which is totally fine. Another thing that I would recommend too is once you're set on a venue, you can negotiate. So not every venue is going to negotiate. There are a few that probably won't, but most of them will. Most of them will work with you a little bit. So one thing that I found is like if you start comparing the other places and you tell them like, well, this place is giving me that, can you give me that? Usually they'll be willing to throw some stuff in and to work with you. So just keep that in mind. There is usually wiggle room and you can usually negotiate some things. That is my dog. So yeah, usually you'll be able to negotiate. So something to keep in mind when looking at venues is that most wedding venues will have different prices depending on the season and obviously the day of the week. So keep that in mind. We definitely wanted a Saturday night. And we were a little bit flexible with the season. We wanted either like spring, summer, or fall. We didn't want winter. We didn't want it to be cold, but we also didn't want it to be like super hot. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, something else is that keep in mind, especially in New York. I don't know if other states have different things. I'm pretty sure like New Jersey doesn't have this same tax. But in New York, when you are going to book a wedding venue, most places, I would say like 95 or like 99% of places will charge you the price per person, but there are a lot of other fees, right? So some of them will have like fees just to rent the space, fees just to like use the facility, and then they all, like 99% of them all have a 20 to like 24% tax. So whatever the total value of your wedding is, like with the per person and like whatever additions you add on, that total price will then be taxed 22%. And then you have to add that 22% price to the total. And then you are taxed on the whole thing. Like the New York State tax is then taxed again on the whole thing. So just because it says that per person, you want to make sure that you are calculating everything properly and correctly when you are looking at places in terms of price, because the price per person is not exactly what it is. You want to make sure you add that 22% fee and then that 8% something tax of New York State. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to show you guys the places that we looked at. Again, none of these places are the place that we chose. So I just want to throw that out there. I want to keep our venue, I guess, private for now. And then we'll see how that goes. So if you guys have any questions, just write them in the comment section down below. Okay, this is the first venue. This was the mansion at Oyster Bay. And I love the outside. I think it looks like a Mediterranean, like European mansion, which I think is so beautiful. This is the entrance when you first walk in, which I think is so pretty. And then as you enter and then walk to the left, this is where the cocktail hour spaces would be. There's a few different rooms that you can have your guests like walk through the mansion. This area was my favorite. I loved this room with the piano, and you could have somebody playing the piano there during cocktail hour, which I really, really love. This is another space for cocktail hour where guests can take their food outside and sit. And then this is the room that you enter right before you go into the ballroom. That mirror there you could use as like a seating chart. I love the old paintings in here. I really love the old mansion vibe. So now this is the main ballroom. That's where the bride and groom would be sitting. This is the left side of the ballroom. Again, just showing you guys to get a feel of how this room feels in person. I'm going to be honest, I didn't love the room. I just think it was a little dark for me. I don't love the ceiling. There were aspects of it that I loved. I loved that it was spacious, but just not for me. And then out here is where the ceremony would take place. They would set up the chairs outside, and then the arch would be kind of down that path, and that's where we would get married. This is just the back side of the mansion, which I think is so pretty. I love it out here. They did say a lot of people take photos out here, like for their wedding photos and whatnot, and it's very pretty. So once you go inside, this is the other side of the mansion, which I think is so pretty. I love that black and white floor. Something I loved about this is that we would have the entire mansion for the day of our wedding, so there would be no one else there, no other parties. This is us just walking up, so I could show you that view, which is so pretty. They take a lot of photos up here for the bride and groom, and I loved this space. So now this is where the bridal suite would be. I believe I would be able to get ready there. It was very pretty. I think it's definitely enough space. I love that they had like a designated area with the mirror. This is the bathroom for the bridal suite. Again, very pretty. I think that would be so pretty in photos. And this is just another area, part of the bridal suite. It was definitely spacious, which I loved. This is just the groom suite. Sorry I didn't get any better photos or videos, but it was very nice. And now this is where the after party would be. So it wouldn't be enclosed like that when it's warm out, which I think is so cool. You could have a DJ and other food, which I really loved. Here's just a few other photos that I had on my phone, but overall, I loved this venue. I think the mansion vibe was so pretty. It was definitely top of our list. Just wasn't thrilled with the ballroom and a few other aspects of it, but other than that, I love this venue and I think it's so beautiful. Next venue is the Heritage Club at Bethpage. This was definitely one of our top contenders. Again, I'm gonna apologize that this video is not clear. I didn't realize till afterwards, but I'm definitely gonna insert some photos and other stuff that I have so that way you can get a better look. But this is the entrance, which I thought was so cool, so different. I love the black and white floors. I just thought this was so cool, and it definitely has a very different feel than some of the other venues we looked at. But this place is very spacious, very big, and I just think it's so beautiful. It has a lot of character. As you can see, the furniture, it has that green, which I do really like. I just wasn't sure how I would feel about it in photos, if it would be the exact look that I was going for. In here is where one of the options for cocktail hour would be. This room is so spacious and beautiful. I loved the high ceilings. It was just, we could picture it in here, which I loved. Say this is probably one of our favorite rooms of the venue. This is the bridal suite, which was a little bit small. And one thing I didn't love is that you cannot get ready there. And then this is the groom suite, which again was a little bit small. Not the biggest deal though. This room is so beautiful too, and this would be the backup room for the ceremony in case it rains or there's bad weather or that kind of thing, which is so pretty. And then here is the beautiful grand ballroom. I love how spacious this room feels. I love the windows on all sides. That's definitely a feature I haven't seen at many other venues. And I just think this room is so beautiful. One of my concerns was that the room is so big, I'm not sure we would have enough people to fill it. But it really is so beautiful and such a nice ballroom that I could totally picture a wedding here. This was another option for outdoor cocktail hour. The great thing about this venue is that they have so many different choices and options that you can do. The grounds are very big, so there's endless possibilities, which was definitely really cool. And they have a lot to offer. So I think this was really, really awesome. And now this space is where the ceremony would take place if it was outdoors, which again, very beautiful. Overall, we really liked this venue. Like I said, it was definitely a top contender, but it just didn't exactly fit the aesthetic we were looking for. And the final venue of this video is Water's Edge in Long Island, which is brand new. We saw it being built and knew we had to go check it out when the time was right. When we walked in, it was so busy. There were so many appointments and tours going on. I was shocked. And just look at this view when you walk in. It's just so beautiful. It really is breathtaking when you take a look at this. But this venue, like I said, is brand new. So they totally redesigned this place. It has a very modern feel to it. And like I said, this view is just perfect. I mean, you can't really get much better than that. So obviously, we loved this place. So this is when you walk in. This is going up the steps. This is what the view looks like. The place is very spacious, but it's not crazy big or anything. But it's all brand new. Like I said, the chandelier is beautiful. Just the view is beautiful. I can totally see taking photos up here and it being so pretty. And now this is upstairs. This would be obviously where the bride would be. Before the wedding and everything, we would get access to the upstairs. None of the guests have access to the upstairs. That's the view that you get. And when you're upstairs too, you can take a look down at your ballroom, which is a very cool feature to have. And this is the groom suite, which is so nice and beautiful. Probably the nicest one we have ever seen. It just has everything in there. And this is the bridal suite, which again is the nicest bridal suite I've ever seen. I almost wanted to choose this venue just for the bridal suite because we couldn't get over how beautiful it was. Again, you cannot get ready in this bridal suite, which is such a shame because it's so beautiful. But you can definitely take photos in there and everything, but you just can't do hair and makeup in there. Now, this is where the cocktail hour is. It has the view to the outside where the ceremony just was. Very spacious, very pretty. It has a really cool feature of the wallpaper where from one angle it looks different and from another angle it looks like something else, which is definitely cool. And these are the stations where the food would be set up. Definitely a beautiful, beautiful cocktail hour space. And now this is where the outdoor ceremony would be. They would obviously line white chairs out there, and you would walk down the aisle that way, and you get the view of the beautiful water. This is, if you turn around, what the venue looks like from the back. So pretty, such a nice view. And now this is the ballroom, which is very different from the other ballrooms we've seen so far. Definitely more modern, very updated, very spacious. It has a lot of light coming through, which is very pretty. I think this ballroom is really nice. It is kind of big where you can't see everyone from the other side of the ballroom, which is just something I noticed. Not a big deal. And then when you get to the dance floor, it has this big ceiling with the chandeliers that we saw from the other angle. So definitely a beautiful, beautiful ballroom. And you also get the outside view. If you look out, that's where the ceremony took place. And I just think this is so pretty. And now this is where the after party would take place if you decided to do an after party. This is where it would be. It would sort of line the bar over here, which I absolutely love this bar. I think photos over here would be so beautiful. Definitely has that Gatsby era, that Gatsby feel, which is definitely cool. And then in this room is where the full after party would be. They also do other parties in this room, like showers and whatnot, but very beautiful. Overall, we really love this venue. I think it is so beautiful. Obviously, it's brand new. Just not the exact vibe I'm looking for. We definitely wanted something a little bit older feeling, like an old estate. But honestly, this venue is beautiful. You can't go wrong here. So I hope you guys enjoyed going through these venues with me. It's been really fun to look at them, but also really stressful. But, you know, that comes with the territory. And, you know, it's important that you as the bride or as the groom find something that you're both happy with. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section down below. And I will see you for the next wedding series video. So thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.